Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today at the Beaufort Digital Corridor. Today we have a special Techstars Startup Weekend info session that we've invited Rich Conte to talk about, so I'm so excited for that. Before we get started, we just have a few announcements that we're going to go over. First of all, just want to remind everyone that this is BDC week, so we do have Tech Connect happening tomorrow night at 5:30 p.m. and it is a networking event. It's a happy hour event, so please come out and join us for that. Also want to mention too that we've had 2 Divergence Academy trainings scheduled for February, one for February 5th through the 9th and one the 12th through the 16th. Want to just let everyone know that those have been moved to online, so they're no longer in person. So you can still register for that. We have the event listed on our website, so you can go there and get registered and signed up. And also want to mention too, we have Telfair Museum is having their Pulse and Technology Festival. That's happening January 26th through the 27th. And we do have some BDC members that are going to be there. The guys from Low Country Games are going to be there exhibiting their game, and then also Shane Suter will be there. He's the creator of Group. So please join us for that, and there's more information for those events on our website. And also, if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, please do that as well, and you can stay up to date with all the information and events we have going on. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Rich.
Thank you, Angela. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for braving the cold to join us here at the BDC Base Camp Launchpad for this Lunch and Learn. Jess and Angela asked me to come on out and fill in. For those of you, anybody who's maybe expecting Anthony Joyner as the speaker today, we'll have him back later on this year. Unfortunately, he ran into some travel issues and could not be here today. So in the spirit of startups, we've pivoted. And we're going to talk to you a little bit today about Techstars Startup Weekend and the event we're holding here in Beaufort later on this year. I'll get into some of the details. But I thought maybe the best way to sort of give you a glimpse of what Startup Weekend is like is rather than me lead with a bunch of talking, I'm going to show a little video that our partners at SK Media put together last year as a wrap-up from last year's event to give you really a good flavor of what to expect in the event. So without further ado.
Oh, your screen share.
Did it drop? Okay. Says it's sharing. Says it should be playing there.
Oh, it almost did for a second. It pivoted screens.
Oh, is that what they were going to do at BDC?
Maybe take it out of full screen.
Yeah, maybe that's what was doing it.
I probably should go, but Jess always goes. What's it called again tomorrow night?
Oh, Tech Connect.
Tech Connect. Should I be going to that?
Absolutely. You can always
I
come
know
back.
lots of people go.
Yeah.
He enjoys those.
Yeah, I'm sure you're always welcome to come to that.
Yeah.
So I've had more the merrier.
Yeah. There's a women in technology that
Yep.
it's just a meetup group.
Yeah, that's our group.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that we're talking about.
Because I've signed up for it, but I've never been able to go to any of your things because I'm never here. Like your Christmas one.
Yeah. It's usually always on
Yeah.
the second
That's what I was
Thursday of
doing.
each month, 5:30 to 7:30.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this.
Does the
Okay, there
location
it
change?
is.
Yeah, we do, based on what everyone wants to do, I think next month we might be doing like an
Try
alternate
that.
You did
Valentine's
something
Day
like
thing.
bungee
Yeah,
jumping or
because,
something,
like,
right?
Oh, we did like a
All right,
class.
well, we
Oh,
will
you do
do it
basketball
again.
sometimes.
Yeah, that sounded like fun. So the second, so next in
Next-
February,
yeah,
second
second
Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay, I can make that.
Okay, if you want to, I'm not sure how we would set that up, but. Go. You missed up.
Yeah, stop the
Does
mirror.
Angela go to those?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's our program manager now, so she helps us coordinate and plan all of them.
Yeah. So you guys are always at those events.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Thank you, Angela.
Hey guys.
This community has just absolutely blown me away. Both hospitality, the waterfront, everything that's going on. We've had some great experiences with students, with professors, with community involvement. Even the mayor is here, which just totally blows my mind how great of a community interaction it is.
The best part of this weekend so far is that Techstars makes you work so fast that you learn how to cut down to laser focus. We are making a killer pitch thanks to people who actually started international companies before, and I'm humbled and honored that these people offered me their expertise and believe in my idea.
It was really an incredible learning experience, learning about these lean canvas and the business canvas, and really how to extrapolate, I guess, a lot of the information we need for these startups and these tech ideas. One of the most impactful things I've learned is that you don't necessarily need a boatload of startup capital from your own pocket or a line of credit to get going. You know, if you got the right pitch, you can kind of make things happen if you know how to get in the right rooms and shake the right hands.
So I came to Techstars just as a spectator, but after coming here, I became a participant. I got to know people, I got to learn new things. It's not just for experienced people, but it's also for students who want to learn and observe people and be a part of the community.
I was last year's prior contestant with Project Moonlight that we went on to win. And this year, I'm working with a Soundwave technology company and helping them get to market and figure out everything that they need to do. And I figured since I've actually been there and pitched in VC rooms, how about give other people the ability to learn?
Techstars is really an opportunity to continue to learn about design thinking, lean ways of thinking, how to really rapidly grow a high-performing team in such a short time. I've found so much value being a participant this year, and I'm really excited about sharing the learnings back in my day-to-day as a leader.
That was the best part of the event last year.
That's like delicious.
We've seen more energy this time around, and we have twice as many teams. This is still one of the most fun activities I do all year round as a mentor, to see startups grow from just an idea to a pitchable business within 54 hours.
This is brand new to me. I never imagined myself in the tech startup world. But one of the reasons why I thought about doing this, well, I always wanted to be an inventor. Growing up, black inventors were my favorite topic. So even though this was not necessarily me being an inventor, this is in that realm, and I'm not sure if I'm going to win, but at least I can say I had the experience.
I hope you guys enjoyed. No, that was me. hope you guys enjoyed that. Thought the video was some great work, and I really loved how it gave a really great flavor of. Oops. Oop. There's video going there still. Do you need me to stop sharing again? There you go. There you go. All right. Oops. Sorry. Yeah, you good? Yep. All right. Cool. Hope you enjoyed the video. I thought it was some great work. Not only does it give you a sense of what the event is really all about at a high level, but I hope one of the things that really came through in that was, and Anne-Marie, our facilitator last year, said it at the very beginning of her interview there at the start, was about the community. Right? I love seeing all the faces, and for me, it was a mix of folks who I'd never known, never met before until participating or organizing the event last year, folks that you see every day in the Beaufort community here, and some folks I engaged from my previous experiences up in the Charleston area who wanted to come down, see what we were doing here at the BDC. They were familiar with Beaufort, but really weren't aware of something like this going on. And these are folks in the entrepreneurial world, in the investment community, that are based up in Charleston, and they had a great experience and really contributed to the experience too. It wasn't like they sort of came down from Charleston and were like, well, we've got this all figured out. They were really engaged and really loved hearing and talking to the local folks here. So that was one of my favorite parts of the event. So what is Startup Weekend? Techstars Startup Weekend. Techstars is a pretty global brand of really built around entrepreneurial ecosystems and cultivating them. Startup Weekend in specific is what they consider sort of their top of the funnel activity. So Techstars exists to help grow and fund startup companies, and Startup Weekend is really where a lot of that all begins. Right? It is getting in and connecting with folks out in different communities who have some experience and want to help others, bring them together with folks in the community that maybe have tech or entrepreneurial aspirations, but really weren't sure sort of what their first or next step should be. And this event is really about bringing those folks together under the Techstars brand as a way of not just cultivating mindsets, not maybe even specifically launching specific companies, but just getting those folks in and engaged. And that's really where the Techstars journey begins. And it's a huge global program. Right? You can see over 7,000 programs held in over 150 plus countries, engaging over almost 200,000 different community leaders in those different communities, and almost 500,000 participants over the years that it's been running. It's been running for about 10 to 12 years in total. And so it's this hyper global program that's really built out of small little local events, of varying sizes. Some communities, have events of upwards of 200, 250 participants. Others, our first year, 2 years ago here, or 3 years ago here in Beaufort, we had 9 participants, but it was a great event. Right? And so it's, like I said, this hyper global program, but it exists because of those local communities and the people in those communities that want to and need to engage. And the purpose of it is it's a 3-day program, right? Where these aspiring entrepreneurs or folks in the tech industry or not in the tech industry but have an interest can come together and experience, a very condensed and very high level, but still, authentic experience of what startup life is like in hundreds of these communities around the world. And Techstars does a great job helping the communities and the community organizers bring these events to life, to make them valuable for the participants and make them a great experience, and to connect some of the different communities. You'll see, there's certain weekends of the year where there might be 15 of these going on across the globe, and in some of those cases, different communities, sometimes in very different parts of the world, connect and sort of have either joint activities or even whole joint event geographically distributed. So it's an amazing program. I'm a huge advocate of it. How I got involved was really just 10 years ago was my first in Charleston. I work for a relatively large tech company based up in Charleston, and I was looking for something to connect with, something in my profession but outside of my day job. And at the time, Charleston's tech economy was really gathering a lot of steam, and there was a bunch of companies in the startup sort of tier, small company tier, and then mid-sized company tier. And I found out about an event they were holding, attended it as a participant, not really knowing what to expect, and it was a great experience. And since then I participated in another 3 or 4 of them, and also became an organizer, helped organize 3 or 4 up in the Charleston area, and now this will be our 3rd down here in Beaufort. So I'm really excited to bring this to the community and really just get a chance to just meet a whole new wave of people here in Beaufort as a result of the event. I'm going to go into more detail about what to expect with the event, but before I do, I really just wanted to talk a little bit about the why. And so this is actually some content directly from the Techstars website that talks about sort of the why, about connecting with other creators, learning from people who've been through it, who've experienced success, potentially start something that might transform your life. We've seen success stories like that. And if not, just further your skills or improve your knowledge. So these are sort of the Techstars whys, but let me tell you a little bit about sort of the whys from my point of view and my experience. And I'll go back to that, those comments about community. I moved my family down here during the pandemic in 2020. I had been, the Beaufort Digital Corridor was on my radar screen in the past, and I was fortunate to get engaged with them. But it was 2020. That was the time when we were all sort of almost shut-ins, or at least, our ability to sort of connect with other people had been drastically altered by the pandemic. And so joined the board of the BDC, and Jess and folks decided, we wanted to bring Startup Weekend to Beaufort back in the spring of 2022. And it was just a great experience to start to connect with the broader community here. And one of the biggest successes we had that first year was the level of commitment, engagement, support from the community. Not just in terms of participating, but in terms of supporting the event. By helping spread word of mouth, by folks participating as coaches and mentors and judges from the community, local businesses stepping up and helping us out with food, other materials that we needed for the event on a sort of a sponsorship basis. So that, more than anything, was the why for me, and why it was important to bring it to Beaufort, was to sort of bring that community support out into the forefront. I'm hugely passionate about community development, and we've got such a great community here in Beaufort in so many ways. The quality of life is off the charts. The people are amazing, and we want to make sure that we have all of the right economic engines in place to continue to sustain and maintain the amazing quality of life that we have down here. And one of the ways you do that is by diversifying the economy. And so, our mission here at the BDC is tightly wound into that. And we look at Startup Weekend as a really important lever to do that, to give folks locally more options right, than just hospitality or the military or some of the other sort of industries that here. If we can attract folks to the community or develop folks in the community or really just tap into and discover folks who are here who just have never had any opportunity to connect, it gives us the ability to start to move that economic lever in terms of tech here. And Startup Weekend, we look at, again, one of these top of the funnel activities. Create a great program, make it interesting and exciting for participants, make sure people get the word out about it, give them a reason to come and connect, and good things will happen. So, that's one of the big whys for me. Another big why in terms of participation is, for actual, participants, it's a pretty hefty commitment, to spend, the better part of a weekend working on a project, for something that, might not turn any direct economic benefit to you, giving up some of your leisure time, but it's so rewarding, right? And why it's rewarding is, it gives folks an opportunity to work in an environment or work on subject matter or work with people in a way that they don't necessarily have access to in day-to-day jobs or day-to-day life, right? It's a great opportunity to, even if, you end up not sort of, taking any sort of transformational journey coming out of it, it's a good way to sort of reinvigorate your thinking and connect with people that you might not otherwise have had the opportunity to connect with. So those are two whys that really speak to me about why it's such a great event and why folks should participate. Cool. And, both globally, certainly, and locally, we've seen success stories of different scale come out of Startup Weekend, right? As a matter of fact, we had a great experience last year where one of the residents of the launch pad here is a company called SkyDrive. And they're based in Japan, I believe, and they opened an office here in Beaufort, and they basically sell flying cars, right? It doesn't get more technologically advanced than that, and they have a presence here in Beaufort. And it was a great experience because they had just sort of established their presence here a few months before we held the event last March. And they brought over one of their executives over here to see the Beaufort office. And he was a Startup Weekend graduate from, I believe, about a decade ago and won a local event, where he was based at the time. And it was almost like an alumni club. He came in and it wasn't like, hey, I'm a big celebrity. It was like, wow, you guys are going to have such a great experience. He wanted to meet everybody, wanted to shake everybody's hands. So, we see successes coming out of some of the largest tech companies in the world have been launched through this program or programs like this. And then locally, we had last year's winner. You actually saw the young woman was interviewed as part of the video, Tatiana. She was talking about the killer pitch she was putting together, and they sure did. They ended up winning, and she's got an office downstairs here in the Beaufort Digital Corridor base camp for her company called Garnish, which is, I thought was an incredibly compelling idea last year, which was how to use AI image generation, right, to help small restaurant owners with their marketing presence. And so the idea was, in this day of social media, most businesses, especially restaurants, want to be out there, want to be leveraging social media to advertise what they do. But in an industry like the food and beverage industry, and particularly with a restaurant, you better have very high quality image and visuals of your menu items and other your environment, and a lot of small restaurants, business owners can't afford to pay top notch for photographers. So how can we let them take their pictures and use the power of AI technology to create these, more sort of compelling and higher quality images for them to use in social media and on their menus. And they won the event, and like I said, she's a resident downstairs. So, we're slowly building things here in the community at the BDC and through events like this, and, we expect to see more and more successes like this. And like I said, Startup Weekend is one of the engines to help make that happen. Cool. So what to expect? It's a 3-day event. It begins on Friday evening. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe 6 p.m. this year we're starting. Yep. And the Friday evening event is the opening festivities, and it's highly, highly engaging. I think in the video there was a young lady who referenced starting out as just sort of an observer and ended up committing to participate to the weekend. Those are some of my favorite stories at Startup Weekend events. When somebody comes to the Friday night not knowing what to expect, not really expecting to commit a weekend to working on a project and doing what's, and to some people would seem like work, and getting so swept up by this opening night that they want to participate through the whole weekend. And that happens every year, and it's such a great story when it does. And so the opening festivities, there's a facilitator that's provided by Techstars, and these are folks who are professional at hosting and running these events. And ensuring that everybody has a great experience. There's typically, we'll bring in a keynote speaker, somebody from the community or somebody from the technology field or the investment field typically, to come in and, talk about their experiences or their experiences with Startup Weekend if it's relevant. And that's a good way to sort of get things going. There's interactive icebreakers and other activities that go on. There's, of course, food. But really, the heart of that first Friday night is where the weekend launches. And it consists of participants, folks who are interested in participating through the weekend, getting up and giving 60-second pitches. And it's a hard limit. You get the playoff and music and the hook if you go beyond the 60 seconds to pitch an idea, right, and get folks excited about it, right? And we encourage everybody, even the folks who aren't going to participate for the whole weekend, because it's such a fun part of the event to get up and try to communicate an idea to folks and get them excited about it. And so folks get up and give the pitches. When we've run through all of the opening pitches, I've been at events where there have been a dozen open pitches, and I've been at ones where there have been like 200. Right? But when you get through them all, everybody goes around, and you've got sticky notes to vote on. Everybody who is attending the Friday night gets sticky notes to vote on their 3 favorite ideas. Right? And we as the organizing team will narrow the number of ideas based on the votes down to what we think is a manageable number for the weekend. So basically you want to have a ratio of 1 idea to 5 participants or so. Right? We'll narrow it down, and those are going to be the ideas that are going to be teams built around that. So the people who pitch those ideas have another 30 seconds or so to just talk about what type of teammates they're looking for, what skills they have, what skills they're looking for folks to bring. And then the other participants partner up and join with them to form teams that'll work together through the weekend. So by the time the Friday night festivities end, first of all, everybody's probably exhausted but energized. And we've got a handful of teams all set to go to work on these subset of the ideas that made it through the voting process as part of the opening night pitches. And so there's a little bit of end of the night sort of team formation going on, folks getting to know each other and getting prepared for the next day. But the real fun begins on Saturday, which is lots of work and lots of play. So basically, you've got from that point, Friday evening or Saturday morning through Sunday at about 4 o'clock to take that initial idea, develop a business model, come up with a compelling pitch and demonstration of the idea that are going to be pitched to the judges on Sunday evening. And we're there to help with a lot of that, right? We try to keep it fun and engaging. There's opportunities to blow off steam. I think we've had, half-court basketball games broke out, folks using longboard skateboards around the gym, other things to sort of break, some of the give people a little bit of a break. But we also bring in coaches, and we have mentors deliver workshops to really lead you through the process. And if you think about the process that we're communicating here, that we're trying to educate people on in terms of what it's like to build, particularly a technology business, it's first market validation. Who's the customer for your idea? How do we get in front of those people to learn not just what they think about the idea, hey, is this a good idea or not, but to learn from them how that idea might impact them and thus how they'll value it. So not questions like, hey, this is our idea, what do you think? Because people like to be liked, and they're going to say, great idea, right? A better question is, tell me about a time where X and that you think your idea would have, had impact or value to them. Right, so if the idea is about dog walking, right? Tell me a time when you didn't have the opportunity to walk your dog and what you did in that circumstance. Right, you're trying to learn about whether your idea is valuable, not whether people like it. Right. So the market validation, we give support. We'll typically have a workshop, to talk to people about how to do that, and then we encourage folks certainly by Saturday afternoon to either get on the phones, get on email, get on the internet, or even better, get out in the community and talk to people. One of the beautiful things about having this event in a town like Beaufort in the spring, which has a very healthy tourist economy, is particularly if you have any kind of idea for a consumer business, all you got to do is walk down to Henry C. Chambers Park, Waterfront Park, and you're going to run into a million people you can talk to. And they're all glad to spend, 3 minutes talking to you and answering a few questions. So that's the first part of the program on Saturday. As you get to Saturday evening, you've been fed breakfast, you've been fed lunch, you've been coached and mentored, but now you're starting to get an idea of where the value may lie in your idea. And maybe your idea has reformed a little bit, and you're starting to think about, okay, what are we going to need to do to execute on it, right? And so you're putting together plans about, we're going to build X, or we're going to build an interactive prototype of our idea, or we're going to put together a storyboard using PowerPoint or some other presentation tool to articulate our story. And these are all the things we're going to need to do, and these are all the details we're going to gather. And here's our business model. Let's think about different ways that we're going to actually be able to make money off of this, right? And what numbers are we going to need to crunch to be able to do that? Then we roll into, it's usually a late night on Saturday night. I think last year we maybe had some folks there as late as 11:30 or midnight, still working before the facilities person at USCB had to go home for the night, and we closed up. But then you show back up Sunday, and Sunday is go time. Right? It's about getting all the work done so that you can deliver a really killer pitch, as Tatiana put it. And so folks usually divide and conquer. Usually there's some last minute questions that come up that you want to gather some data on. So folks are either scouring the internet or getting on the phone or going back out in public to talk to some folks to fill in some dots there. If the end product that you demonstrate, like I said, might actually be working code. I've worked on teams where we've done that and even deployed apps to the Google App Store as part of the process. So you got maybe the folks who have the deeper tech skills, particularly in software development, are busy off doing that. Other demonstrations are built on interactive prototypes, right, where there's a bunch of different tools out there that you can use to simulate an experience that somebody might have with working code. And you've got designers or people or aspiring marketing people thinking about sort of what that experience should be like and how they would describe it and pitch it to somebody. And then other folks, it's just a PowerPoint storyboard that walks them through, and so you're busy putting together deck. And then 3 or 4 o'clock comes on Sunday afternoon, and it's time to get the presentations all ready to go, do the last minute checks, and get ready for the final pitches. And so then Sunday evening is the final pitches. And so there's the pitches are made to a team of judges. I mean, the whole audience is there, but there's usually anywhere from 4 to 6 judges that are going to pick the winners. And those judges vary every year. We've been tremendously fortunate here in Beaufort to have just, I would say, rock star panels of judges both years. That first year we had folks like Dick Stewart, who's a veteran investor and owns 303 Associates here locally. We had Ajua Hawkins, who's a local small business attorney here who stepped up and came and helped us out. We had folks from the investment community who are either local or part-time locals. And we even brought in a gentleman who's a entrepreneur in residence for a tech investment venture firm up in the Washington, D.C. area, who was actually, born in Beaufort County, or maybe call it nearby. Was actually born at Beaufort Memorial and wanted to come back and re-engage with the community here. And he brought a tremendous amount of knowledge and expertise to his role as a judge. Last year we were fortunate to have Ernest Andretti, who is the executive director of the Charleston Digital Corridor. Folks consider him the godfather of Charleston Tech, came down and spent the evening with us as a judge. We had Robert Mendez, who heads a venture capital firm with an office in Charleston and one overseas, does a lot of tech investing. He came down to participate. Some other local folks we had last year as well. So, tremendous support in terms of the judges. And so typically we'll have, a keynote speaker again on the Sunday evening. There'll be food and there'll be the final pitches. So the teams will get up and they've got 5 minutes to present their idea to the judges, and then 5 minutes for Q&A from the judges. And after all the pitches are done, the judges are sequestered for, sometimes it's as quick as 20 minutes. Other times it can be 45 minutes to an hour to deliberate on who are the winners. And they come back and, present or announce who the winners are. And we've got a prize package we put together. And, we try to, with the prize packages, strike a nice balance between products and services that can help a team if they're really serious about moving forward with the business idea. So I talked about Tatiana last year and her team Garnish. We provided office space to them as part of their prize package to help them move forward. But we try to balance that with things that are still useful and valuable for folks who may not go on with it as business. So sometimes professional services like resume writing or headshot photography, or even just gadgets, printers, other things that are useful to folks. So we try to make it a valuable thing as part of the program awards. And like I said, one of the best parts of the entire weekend are the people you meet, the other participants, but meeting speakers, folks from business and industry who've had success and want to sort of pay it back and share with folks. Same thing, coaches, folks who have expertise, mentors who want to work with teams hands-on. One of our best supporters here at the BDC and best supporters of this event is a gentleman named Henrik de Geyer, who's based out of Bluffton, so south of the Broad. But he's got a series of podcasts on marketing and other aspects of the technology business, and he's helped us as a coach the past couple of years, and honestly, he's here longer than most of the participants. He puts in tremendous amount of hours because he loves giving back and working with folks who have these interests and working with them hands-on, and is a tremendous help. So the coaches and mentors are great, and you get to benefit from their experience and skills, and same thing with the judges. It's great to get feedback. That's one of the best part of the program is even if you're a team that doesn't win the award, you're getting valuable feedback from folks on not just the idea, but what you did throughout the weekend to bring that idea to life. And they're really conscientious about giving real meaningful, actionable advice. And a lot of times the judges get as fired up about an idea and a pitch as the people delivering it. And, they'll follow up and engage, certainly the folks who are in the investment community, and, will, give you some more time to talk with them one-on-one to see what might be there and if there's sort of mutual interest there. So it's a great part of the event. Cool. So now the real nitty-gritty details. Where and when? So again, I mentioned it's Friday, March 22nd through Sunday, March 24th. Typically, the Friday night begins at 6. We'll do dinner, the pitches, team formation. It'll wrap up, usually by about 11. Saturday's a working day. Typically, we're open and open the doors at 8 a.m. for anybody who wants to start that early, going through till 11 o'clock or potentially later on Saturday night. Same thing Sunday. Try to open the doors early because teams are starting to get anxious about getting the work done. And then the Sunday night program, the final pitches and that part of the presentation usually starts by around 5 p.m. and wraps up by about 9 p.m. So it's a fairly healthy time commitment. Where it's being held for the third year in a row, thankfully, is the USCB Cyber Center. I believe that's the correct name, Jess. And that's on 1100 Boundary Street. The statute of limitations on referring to it as the Old Bridges Prep Building has probably expired. Folks probably don't know it as that. But it was formerly a school, and now it's part of USCB's campus. And so it's a great environment for this event. A nice combination of big open spaces for folks to collaborate and connect, and then classroom spaces for getting in and doing the hard work. It's right downtown, right? So again, want to go do market validation, on Bay Street or in the waterfront park, it's a short walk down there. You've also got easy access by car to, the uptown part of Beaufort as well if there's, need to get out there. And another thing that's important to know is there's different ways to participate. Certainly, if you're somebody in the community who has some expertise and you want to volunteer to spend some time helping as a coach, a judge, and a co-organizer, reach out to us here at the Beaufort Digital Corridor. We'd love to get you involved in that capacity to get involved. But even if you're just somebody who wants to know what this is all about, there's a couple of different ways to participate. So there's certainly the full participant tickets, which we offer some discount codes. There's an early bird discount. I believe just the early bird is $15 a ticket. For students, we'd love to get students from USCB, TCL, and beyond involved. So if you're out there, check out the website and look for the student options, which offer a discount to get involved. We'd love to have folks who are maybe watching this on Facebook live streaming, who maybe aren't right here in downtown Beaufort or somewhere out a little bit further. Talk to us. We'd love to have you engage. We'll love to sort of work with you about looking for opportunities for places to stay if you want to come for the weekend. There's also option to attend the Friday night and or Sunday night festivity. So if you want to not necessarily commit to a weekend up front, but want to learn what it's all about, buy the ticket to come to the Friday night event, see what it's all about, and we'll be working to try to convert you to participate as a full participant for the course of the entire weekend. So that's about all I had. Are there any questions? Either if you're out there and streaming and you want to put a question in the chat, we'll try to address it. Or anybody here has any questions, I'm glad to answer them. Yeah.
Where does the funding come from?
I'm sorry?
Is Techstars a nonprofit?
Great question. So yeah, Techstars is a nonprofit. They've got a nonprofit and a for-profit arm. This is all sort of run under the nonprofit. None of the proceeds from this go back to Techstars. Right? This is all sort of locally run through the Beaufort Digital Corridor. We raise money through sponsorships to pay for the bulk of the event. The ticket revenue is largely a way to like make sure that folks have skin in the game and that we know how many folks are attending. Yeah, exactly. We try to keep it very reasonable and really try to make it just so that we know like okay, to plan for how much food we're going to need and whatnot. So. Great question. So the question was, how many attendees are we expecting? So we've been growing each year. As I mentioned, this is our third year. The first year, gosh, we were coming down the wire, and we're like, are we going to have enough to participate? But thanks to the tireless efforts of our executive director, Jess O'Brien, we had enough for 2 teams. We had 9 total participants. Last year, we more than doubled it. I think we had 24, 25 participants across 6 teams. And so, I think we're planning to get 50 or so people this year, and given the growth that we had from year 1 to year 2, we're hoping. So what 50 participants for the weekend would look like in terms of teams, that would probably be about a good 8 or 10 to 12 teams competing through the course of the weekend. So it's good. The more people you have, the more cross-pollination there is. And the Friday and the Sunday night, typically we've got a lot of just sort of attendees who are watching the festivities. So you can expect, there to be, 60 to 80 people, who are, there for the Friday and the Sunday evening. Okay. Any other questions? Angela, Jess, anything you guys can think of that folks might want to know?
I would say if you come as a participant, you will not go hungry.
That is a great way. And that's one of the areas that community support has been so excited about. Gosh, we've had Piace Pizza out on Ladies Island. If you haven't had it, tremendous pizza here locally in Beaufort. They have stepped up every year and have provided pizzas for, I believe, the Saturday lunches. We've had a Low Country boil with the shrimp provided by Sea Eagle Market, and our former mayor, Stephen Murray, actually doing the shrimp boil for everybody. We've had local Shell Ring Ale Works provide alcoholic beverages, beer for the event. They've been great supporters. So you certainly will not go hungry if you participate in any capacity.
Well, no questions online for us, but we will drop the link on the live stream for anyone to register. And you can also check out the details. They'll be on our website by end of day today, BeaufortDigital.com.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for attending. Thanks for watching on Facebook Live, and have a great rest of the day.